Darren centre leads the visitors out. It's been over 12 months since the Tigers have won on the road. They've lost their last 12 games away from home. They're coming off a 32-point loss to Brisbane. Doesn't sound great, does it? They've won just one match in the last 10 weeks. That was 3 weeks ago against Penrith. So 6 wins and 10 losses in 99. They can't make the 8, so they're hoping to spoil a few parties. And this is the side today. You can see there that number 14, Tyron Smith, comes into the starting 13 with Mark Stimson out with an injury, and coming onto the bench is number 18, Hayes Loud of the coaches, Wayne Pearce. Roar of the crowd here for Sean Garlick and the South Sydney Rabbitohs. 20-0 winners over Penrith last week, their first whitewash in a decade. 3 wins, 3 losses at the Sydney Football Stadium this season. They'll need to improve that percentage if they are to make the playoffs. They started the round in 8th spot, 9 wins, 7 losses and 2 byes. Craig Coleman is the coach. And onto the bench comes number 18, Lee Hookey. He replaces the injured Robert Tocco. So the starting 13 as per program. And Julian O'Neill will play at halfback. Craig Wing, the leading try scorer for the club, is the 5'8". They've played Balmain 5 times at the Sydney Football Stadium. They've won 4. Sean Garlick last week said that the match against Penrith was like a grand final. Well, they won that one and got into the 8. I think every week's going to be a grand final now for South Sydney as they try to stay in the 8 in the race for a spot in the playoffs. Julian O'Neill, the playmaker, coming into great form. Just going to stand by now for a minute's silence in memory of the late Frank Evans, a former trainer and strapper at the Balmain Club. The referee today is Mark Oaten, only his 3rd first grade appearance in 99. The video referee is John Yard.
You right, Sean?
Sun's shining at the moment, a bit of high cloud, but pretty good conditions really. We're underway. And Shannon Nevin kicking off for the Balmain Tigers to his opposite number, Brasher, and he immediately finds Mark Carroll, who charges straight into them. So there should be a few fireworks early on with these two clubs who love playing against each other. Gary Freeman.
Well, they certainly do, and I tell you what, there will be fireworks. Big Mark Carroll taking the ball forward there beautifully, making some good yards along with this guy here, Parsons, who's been an outstanding forward for the South Sydney side for a long time. But isn't it great to see a good crowd in here too, as Garlick scampers out of dummy half.
Yeah, they've had some pretty good crowds in 99, the Rabbitohs. The average is 12,420.
Let him go.
The penalty goes against Shane Walker for holding on to a leg.
I think what you'll see, Mark Oaten will make sure that he tries to keep these teams apart, I should say, so they don't get a little bit frisky. You know, want to start going a little bit higher on their shots and their tackles.
Good field position here now, as Carroll charges onto it to the roar of the crowd. They're only about 12 metres out. Tony Iro, short ball to Parsons. So early pressure here for the Balmain side. Garlick working to the left through Craig Wing. He goes wide, fires it to Rodwell. But there are 3 or 4 Tigers defenders over there to shut the movement down. Carroll, another solid hit up. Good defence though. It was Walker that went low. Smith over the top. Smith, James Smith, almost through a hole. Final tackle coming up. Tony Iro back to Julian O'Neill. There goes the bomb. Kicking over here for Joel Kane's wing, and he stood his ground and took it on the full in the in goal. So we'll come back to the 20. But a pretty good start for the South Sydney Rabbitohs.
Oh, it's a great start for South Sydney. Tremendous kick there, but the pressure from the man from the Balmain side, getting up in front of the kicker, put a little bit of pressure on them, put that kick up a little bit too high.
Let's go sideline now to former international Brett Kenny. And Brett, pretty good conditions here today.
Yeah, it is, Greg. There's no wind to speak of. The ground surface isn't too bad considering all the problems they've had. But look, I think we're in for a very exciting game of rugby league.
Take your time. Don't play
South
it
Sydney,
before
of
you're
course,
ready. Don't play it before you're ready. You just
they're desperate to win this game, and Balmain, as you mentioned earlier, can't make the 8, but they'll certainly be looking to to make it pretty tough on a lot of sides that come up against this for the rest of this season.
Well, the referee's saying that he lost that ball completely, but I think what Tyron Smith was trying to do was get a penalty, play the ball on top of the man lane in the ruck area. That could have gone either way.
Hit in, Darren.
Well, it's gone the way of
Ball in, Craig.
Rabbitohs. Craig Wing, even though he's got 6 on his back, he fed that scrum at half-back. And there's the biggest 5'8". Mark Carroll. Richards now. It's Wayne Richards, the lock. Parsons. About 25 metres out. As Garlick waits for it. Switch of play to the short side. Wing finds Brasher up from fullback. Good defence from Wade Rothery. Richards. 10 metres out, the Rabbitohs. Wing. This time with the kick. Again, it's over to Kane. Not under a great deal of pressure. And so he was able to take it on the full. So they'll come back to the 20 for another restart.
Going to give Tyron Smith a bit of a rap there. He got up in the face of the kicker once again. So they love to do, the Tigers, get up in there and put some pressure on those kickers, putting their ball up nice and high.
So the Tigers, they haven't had too much football so far in this match. 81% going the Rabbitohs' way. In their own half, Balmain 77% of the time inside their own 50. They'll need to correct that one. 17 is Nick Shaw at dummy half, got the pass away. There's the kick. And coming back to pick it up is Chris Caruana in his 150th first grade appearance today. The right winger for the Rabbitohs. Tim Brasher. Cross field. Lumens finds Rodwell. Brad Rodwell heading very close to a personal milestone. 195th first grade appearance today. And this is Parsons. Very quick off the mark, aren't they, the Rabbitohs? In their last 8 games, they have been the side that has scored the first 4-pointer. O'Neill getting the kick away. And Shannon Nevin takes it 20 out from his own line. So he returns the football, another 20 metres, only 10 from halfway. O'Neill a dummy half field. This is Rothery.
Balmain have just got to keep coming to this left-hand side there. Souths a little bit short only with Julian O'Neill as they go wide with Nick Shaw. Takes the tackle.
Almost on the halfway. Tyron Smith inside South Sydney territory from the Kiwi International. Running out of dummy half is Adam Nagle. That's a good run. Shaw at dummy half. Field goes to the air. Punch back, and eventually it's been picked up by the Rabbitohs. It was Justin Lumens.
Ooh, that was good defence by Larry. Mark O'Neill too in there.
Rodwell. It's Caruana. His debut in 1992. He's played 109 games for Norths and now 41 for Souths. 150 in total. Garlick, the skipper and dummy half. Back to O'Neill. Again, good pressure.
Julian O'Neill will be sick and tired of the Tigers coming at him from that area there. So now they go wide with Wade Rothery. He'll try and get right on the outside of him.
Good ball at all tackle though, coming in from Carolina.
Joel Kane should have been on the outside and he might have been able to slip and board because that was the last line of defence there.
Nick Shaw. Field going wide, picking up Jason Webber. There's no way through there. Wing and Rodwell. The tacklers. The captain Darren centre. Mabel kicking from dummy half. Brasher running back into his own red zone, picks it up 5 out from his try line. Tim Brasher up against his old club, the Balmain Tigers. This is Lumens. Parsons now. Iro. Taken by Shaw and also Field. Got it out the back door though. 17 now for the Rabbitohs. It's Ian Rubin. A couple of metres inside Balmain territory. James Smith.
0.
They've put it down. Balmain have it.
It's good defence there by the Balmain side. They knew they're under sort of pressure.
2 in there. That one in front of you?
Huh?
No, you're right.
Referee given the penalty.
Thanks.
And there was 2 in the tackle. Stripping of the ball there of Darren Centre, who was on the ground. This is where the Balmain side need to take control of this game from this touch. There's Timmy Brasher trying to rake the ball out. So there was 2 in there. You just can't do that anymore in the game of rugby league.
Well, this is the best attacking opportunity the Tigers have had in this opening half. 0-0 to score. James Gannon about 15 metres out. Field gives it to Jason Lowry. He's 10 metres out. Nable at dummy half. Field wants it to the short side. Shaw. Shannon Nevin coming in from fullback. Field. The pass out to Hayes Lauder. Back it goes now to Nable. Rabbitohs defence holding firm at the moment. Field. Wide they go. John Carlaw. Got it out. And Roderick couldn't control it. Or in fact, Joel Kane couldn't control it. And into touch.
I just thought that Joel Kane was just a little bit flat there. John Carlaw did the right thing. He went in and away and his man had carried one on the outside. But he was just up too flat there, Brett Kenny.
Yeah, he was a little bit flat. I mean, you've got to get back deep. These guys, the wingers, have got to realise they're the pacemen and they're supposed to be able to keep up with these guys even if they get back another 5 or 6 metres.
Last week, South Sydney, 100% in their completion rates in the opening 40 against Penrith. 4 from 5 to date. So that's still pretty good. Big Paul McNicholas off the interchange bench on the 30. Reuben.
This is where Craig Coleman's got a side going so well with his forwards. They go forward and they, in the end they get a nice little kick away. And they get 60 and 70 metres each time out of their sets of 6.
James Smith plays it. Back to O'Neill. It's a kick in. Nevin. Away from 1. Good return of the football once again from Shannon Nevin.
Chris, hand on the ball, hand on the ball.
So another penalty to the Tigers, which will get them back inside South Sydney territory.
2 balls, wait there. Kick that out, John.
The referee's already sort of said to his players, if he's going to play the ball, keep your hand off the ball, don't grab his leg, just get away from it. Really just trying to speed this game up and tell you the truth, I think the fittest will survive here today. There it is. You see the man come over the top, then get his hand on the ball, just slowing the play down, and the referee won't have any bar of that whatsoever in this game here today.
James Gannon now, 30 metres out from the try line. The Tigers looking for first points. Here's Jason Lowry. He's looking for his first try in first grade. Big Jason Lowry now holds a record, 122nd first grade match today. Still hasn't scored a 4-pointer. We better get him across the line, I think.
Someone give him the ball.
This is Nevin. Back to his captain. Centre. Offloads to Rothery. Cutting back in field. It's Lulaway at dummy half. Field. Nable. Double round with Field. Wide they go. 18 is Lauder. Back now to Kane. The Rabbitohs defence holding firm still. Lulaway. Switch of play. Another switch. But all happening before they get across the advantage line. Chance over on the far side now. Rotherham could not control the football.
We just spoken about before, Greg Clark saying how deep they had to be. Centre made the initial bust under a couple of weak tackles. Then he decided to get the ball away. Watch that. It gets outside Lumens, gets the ball behind. Oh, another yard back, and he was just flying onto that ball.
Still 0-0. They are traditionally slow starters, the Tigers. But they had half a chance over on the far side. Brett Kenny against the South Sydney defence, which has been pretty rock solid in recent weeks. You have to make the most of those opportunities.
Well, you do, and as I said, the South defence has been very good. We saw that last week against Penrith. They kept Penrith trialists, but the Balmain have worked their way into this game. They had to do a lot of defence early on in this half, and as we saw at one stage, they only had 19% of the possession, but gradually getting it all together, and they can start to control the ball. And as long as they can do that, they're going to keep the pressure on the Rabbitohs.
Well, it's the Tigers on their own 30. 53% to South Sydney. In their own half, yeah, they've evened things up a lot, Balmain. Centre. Darren will play it. This is Walker. Allowed to offload. Back to centre. And now to Field. Field dummy. Around the halfway mark. And support. A little flat-footed. Now Lulawai back on the inside. Craig Field. Field gets it back to Kylie Lulawai. Being chased by O'Neill. Gets the pass away to Carlaw. That's a good team try by the Balmain Tigers. And the two little men, Kylie Lulawai and Craig Field, set it up. And Carlaw, 7 tries now. He's the leader as far as Balmain try scorers go.
I'll tell you what, that'll make certainly half of the crowd very, very happy that they have managed to put their first pointer on over the try line. Field starts it off. He starts darting around, gets the ball back inside, and he gets a great pass. Naval gets it out the back door to Webster, who turns the ball back inside the field once again. Look at him backing on the outside, doesn't give up. Then he finds the outside man in Carlaw, and there is no stopping him to score the first pointer for the Balmain side.
Well, as you mentioned, Clarkie, this is a great team try. Good effort from a lot of players. We see Naval there ducking under a few tackles. A good pass back outside the Lulawai, back inside the field. Lulawai backing up again, and of course, he done very well, John Carlaw, to realise that the break was going to be made on the outside. Went over for a very good try for the Tigers.
So Carlaw, his 7th for 99. And Shannon Nevin it is. From right in front. The flags go up, so that's a very handy situation, and our apologies to this young man as well. That is James Webster, who's celebrating his 20th birthday. He had a hand in the try. Lulawai still on the bench, so it was good stuff by James Webster. So he's got something to celebrate.
He certainly has. I'll tell you what, he thought he was going to actually score that try too, but he set it up beautifully. That ball back inside the Craig field. Tremendous work there by the little men to get this Balmain side going forward. South Sydney, they don't give you too much. They just control that ball so well, and they complete their sets of 6, which Craig Coleman we wanted from them today.
So the restart by the Rabbitohs, and it's the Tigers with some enthusiasm now. Very attractive play. So Naval at dummy half. This is Tyron Smith. Field. And Darren centre. Weber at dummy half. It's a kick from Field. Brasher being sent back to his own try line. A good chase by the Tigers as well. Joel Kane and Carlaw.
This is where Balmain need to get up in the face of the South Sydney players straight away. That's a good tackle by Kylie Lulawai.
So Lulawai is on there now in 15. Lumens. Mark Carroll, 25 metres out. Parsons plays it. Again, good pressure on O'Neill. Stop and check himself before getting the kick away, and it's a very good kick.
That's a great kick by O'Neill. He had plenty of pressure. Balmain players flying out all over the line to put some pressure on him. And this little man here coming onto the side, coming onto the field now, Wes Patton. Tell you what, if there's half a break, this kick can go through at 100 mile an hour.
Richards just waiting to back into the lock position for the Rabbitohs.
No more. Too quick. You're too quick. Shut up. Shut up. Come on, play the game, mate.
Good to see the players still having a little bit of a chat to each other.
Webber. Penalty.
Second in. He was already down, James. No, the tackle was completed.
Second man into the tackle after it was completed.
You see, Julian O'Neill's made the tackle. He's gone there to get up, and he's just come down on top of him there. It's a fair enough penalty. Players can look back and say, hey, ref, I don't think you're right. Correct decision there by Mark Oaten.
Now it's Lowry. Got the pass away to Carlo. Able at dummy half.
And what you'll find in that tackle there, the big fella Matt Parsons accidentally knees him in the back of the head by mistake.
No. Come on, hey, back off. Come on, over there, Shane.
He made the initial break. You just see Parsons just coming down there. You just see his left knee just falls on the top of his head. Nothing was meant in that tackle. He's just falling on top of the player, which has left John Carlo a little bit sick and sorry.
So we've had 19 and a half minutes in this first half. That's a first stoppage. Bit of a breather for most of the players out there. Smith started and went back to the bench for a breather. Now he's back out there, playing it on the halfway. Field to Walker, double round with Field, and now Larry, the front rower, into space. Looming up on the inside, he's got support in Shannon Nevin. But Lumens comes across, but the Tigers on a bit of a roll here. They lead by 6 points to 0.
Oh, they've gone the wrong way. They've had to go right now. The ball's passed back in.
And Field gives it to Larry. Larry back to Craig Field. Field looking for an opening. Got it out to Webster. And Webster smothered there by the other little man out there. Where's Patton? They work it to the right. And Souths have got their defensive line in order now. Webster and Field, they go to the air. Over to Caruana's wing. Well, a near thing there as well. Carlo just tried to hand the ball back to his winger, but it beat everybody into touch.
And Joel Kane did a good job there too to hang back just a fraction. Here he goes. He goes up. He has the ball in one hand. Oh, so close to getting that ball to Joel Kane. Now you can hear the crowd screaming out to get a penalty for South Sydney as big Ian Rubin takes it forward.
About 29 metres out from his own line. There's Parsons. Smith to Richards. Back to James Smith. Taken by Lowry underneath. Over the top was Centre. Rodwell.
Oh, good tackle there. Wade Rothery come off his wing and absolutely smashed it. Look at that, tremendous stuff. Just coming at the right time, put pressure on the brick, Kenny.
Well, I think they had to then. I mean, he was caught, he had 2-on-1, and he did the right thing by coming in. But look, I think Balmain have played this game perfectly. They've started to control the ruck area, and they're slowing the South Sydney big men down.
This is Webster. Had a hand in the opening try. Can't do anything with that one, though. Centre. Good defence by Nickel. And Lumen's coming in from the wing. He read that pretty well. Now it's Nable. And Walker. Field. Webster. Around the bootlaces goes Julian O'Neill. Field. Knock on. Well, Tyron Smith and Craig Field just have a look at each other.
And I think the little man would have said to him, mate, I'm not 6'4" like you. Get the ball down just a little bit low. He had plenty of options out wide there. So Nable and Walker, they were just waiting to probably turn the ball back inside and try and hit South Sydney out the middle of the ruck.
This is Jason Nichol, who's been in good form. Parsons. Here we go again, Brett Kenny. South running it out of their own half. Just a couple of hit-ups by the big men, just to settle things down.
Well, I mean, you've got to look at the side. They have got some big forwards there, so they utilise them very well. But as I mentioned earlier, I think Balmain are doing a good job. They're actually slowing the big men down. They're slowing their play the ball down. And we all know South rely on a quick play of the ball and just keep the game going. And if Balmain can slow it down, they're going to be in the hunt for a win here.
Well, this is Tony Iro dropping it onto the left foot. Balmain come away with it.
Very good work there by Wade Rothery once again. The centre comes out of the dummy half area. That's a good tackle by Tony Iro.
All in all tackle this time from Greg Wing. Walker. Tried to get it out the back door.
Backwards, 4.
It's dropped backwards, so it's play on. Field goes wide. There's a try scorer, Karloff. Pops it out to Kane. Joel Kane. He's got Brasher to beat. Gives it to the support. Brasher. He didn't panic, did he? He had it pretty well covered.
That's a tremendous tackle by Timmy Brasher. Magnificent fullback play as Craigfield now puts the ball nice and high.
Over to Lumen's wing. They're leaping high. Who's got it?
Fifth tackle. Play the ball.
It's the changeover. And Rodwell will come away with it now for the Rabbitohs.
There's plenty of exciting plays that's going from end to end. No rest for the wicket out there. Good runs out of dummy half and some big hit-ups from both forward backs. And here's the pass. John Carlock gets a magnificent ball away. Maybe a fraction for the Kane. But I thought if he had actually dummied here, bang there, he was going to score himself. Took the right option. They gave it to Nick Shaw. But Timmy Brasher, what a tremendous tackle.
Well, they've had plenty of line breaks, the Tigers. They lead by 6 points to 0. And South Sydney, we spoke about their very good defence last week in particular. Not so today. They've fallen off 8 tackles. And Julian O'Neill will get it out eventually.
Those tickles
gets it back to
those
Nevin.
tickles are tickling.
I think so. A little more than that, I think. Maybe stinging. Another break. This is Rothery now. Wade Rothery turning Tim Brasher around. They're falling off more tackles. Field. Carlaw. Kane for the corner. Kane in for the try. From one side of the field to the other, the Tigers are on a roll. The Rabbitohs, well, they've been rattled.
When it really comes down to the defence, South Sydney not really aiming up in that area. One-on-one tackles missed on the far side. Rothery making a magnificent bust on the right-hand side. Just comes out of nothing. Look at, he steps inside wing, too easy, and just straight through. He starts to do the old in and out and away. Tim Brasher did magnificently along with Nichol to come up and make the tackle. But then watch Craig Field. He holds up, he holds, he waits, throws the big long ball over the top and cuts out a lot of players. Leaves O'Neill behind. And Carolina had no chance whatsoever to get little Joel Kane. He goes over another 4-pointer.
Well, all this play started from a missed tickle by the South Sydney players, but that was a great long pass by Craig Field. And I've got to say, John Carlow did very well here. He straightened the play up, which of course meant that Chris Caruana had to try and take him, and then left the winger open and threw a very good pass. They're starting to click now, Balmain. They're really starting to put the pressure on South Sydney.
And how did it all start?
With a missed tickle.
There was a tickle tackle.
I think you know what I mean.
Oh, Brickheady, he'll get you.
Yeah, this is Nevin. 1 metre in from touch. The first attempt was right in front. Started out okay. In the end, it curved around too much. Waved away. 10 points to 0. 28th minute. Balmain over their old rivals Souths. So Brasher ready for the restart. Brasher's had plenty of work to do at the back today.
He certainly has players in front of him. He's missing some very ordinary tackles. On that Craig Wynn. Just missed in on Wade Rothery. He'll be pretty disappointed about that. He'll try and make up. And this set of 6 is now Lowry goes forward for the Balmain Tigers. One person who won't be too happy, of course, is their coach and Craig Coleman. He'll be a little bit disappointed sitting there, being down by 10 points. You can see there, shaking his head. His players not get up in the face of the Balmain. Now they give away a penalty.
Take it out of there. No, you're slowing it down.
Coming out the window, it's only going to work for the midday for a drag field to coming back to the blind side. We've got Will, Lee Hookie and fucking Carolina, 2 fucking...
There's plenty there he's saying who they're going to actually target there in defence, I would say.
Well, if we can get across to South Sydney what was just said, then we could be into a very exciting game here.
Oh, yeah, at least you've got something to do down there then.
Now it's Carlaw. 10 metres inside South's territory. Lowry, good solid run and a good solid hit there as well.
Sean Garlett's a man on the ground underneath. It was a magnificent tackle on Lowry, and he is sick.
Field, cross to Lauder. This is Gannon, loses the football. And Brasher, straight onto it, away from 1. 10 from halfway. Patton, wide they go, Wing into a bit of space. Craig Wing, he's got a ton of speed. Field comes at him and takes him brilliantly. Into touch over on the far side, a try saver from Craig Field.
Jason.
Well, I'll tell you what, you click your head off to both players there. One in Craig Wing, and the man that makes the tackle, Craig Field. Wing had plenty of pace, but what about the driving tackle? It doesn't matter whether you're a South Sydney fan or a Balmain fan, everybody got up and cheered that.
Marks the line there, thanks, Jones. Take it back to it.
Bit of claret there. It's Jason Lowry coming across to the blood bin.
That man on screen made
Just
that
walk
tackle
up,
on him.
We're not charging here.
The little hooker.
Hold it still.
Sean Garlick.
Hold it. Heads in. Player.
So the Tigers leading by 10-0. Hayes Lauder, late inclusion in the squad, wearing the 18 jersey. Webster at dummy half the short side to Smith. It's taken by Hookie.
One area where Balmain are beating South here today is the quick play of the ball, just putting them under all sorts of pressure.
Field to Webber. Got away from Iro. Can't get away from Wing. Mark O'Neill up over the halfway line goes the back rower. Final tackle. Field finding some open spaces, sending Justin Lumens back into the in goal. Webber's there. He takes him. Brasher. 65%, that's great possession for Balmain, Gary.
It certainly is, and that's why they are leading on the scoreboard by 10 points to 0 against South. It sounds to me that they're doing the real hard stuff around the ruck area, but out wide they're not really putting anything up against the Balmain. I mean, out in the centres. O'Neill needs to get the ball in his hands more often.
Wing picks up Richards. Final tackle coming up. Not a great kick from Brasher off the side of the boot. Stays in the field of play though. This is Joel Kane.
And Greg, I think that's one of the areas where Balmain are performing a lot better than Souths in their kicking game. You look at Balmain's kicks, they're always finding the in-goal area. The chase is very good, and as we just saw there, South Sydney, unfortunately, just aren't able to control their kicking game.
Walker looking to offload, gets it back to centre. Smith. 9 offloads to the Tigers. They lead 10-0 and Field back on the inside. Real pressure coming up again as James Gannon gets very close. Front of the uprights. Field puts it on the toe. And it's going to be too big for everybody. We'll come back to the 20 for a restart. We're leaving some pressure off the Rabbitohs.
Field just wanted that ball just to hang up just a little bit shorter. It was a good option to go to the line. There's no big Matty Parsons makes it up to around the 30-metre mark.
Oh, mistake by Ian Rubin.
Hey, Julian, with the foot, mate, with the foot.
Yeah, a little bit disappointing. He had the ball in his mitts, and then she just dropped out. And that is their problem here today. Mistake rate. South Sydney 12 to Balmain 3. They'll be a little bit disappointed in that. Just 30-odd minutes gone in the game.
Scrum on the 30-metre mark. Tyron Smith, good work, doubling around with Field, and over the top it goes now, Rothery. Haile Lulawai. The ball was stolen, two in the tackle.
2 in there, wait for it.
Nable. Quick tap, they keep the pressure on. They're going to back themselves to score a try here. It's been left behind. Craig Wing picks it up, and Walker did well, the front row, to get across there and cover and shut things down.
Let him go, let him go.
Penalty goes to the Rabbitohs.
Well, they took the option to it, didn't they? Here he is, giving away the penalty. He knows that his side is not back on side yet to defend. South Sydney certainly would have gone wide straight away. As big Mark Carroll goes forward. Oh, that's good defence, but a great run too by Carroll.
That's the other front rower, Parsons. Wing. Brasher. He ran straight into Joel Kane and Carlo. Hookie. And now Parsons. Nickel. Thought he spotted a gap. Patton kicking. But it's there for the Tigers.
Webber's the man who's come up with the ball. He's just at the back there, come off Shane Walker. This is where now the Tigers got to work very, very hard to get out of their own danger zone with no mistakes.
Webster, dummy half. Nobody at the back for the Rabbitohs. It's good thinking by Craig Field. And a good chase again by Balmain.
It's a great chase, especially by the little men, Webster, and of course the halfback in Craig Field. I need to push up now.
Rodwell. His kicking game has led the way for the Tigers in this opening half. Time running out for the Rabbitohs to post some points.
I'm amazed Brett Kenny, Julian here really hasn't run with the ball at all in this first half.
Yeah, I think he's the type of player, he's got to take control. That's why he's in the position at halfback. I think they want him to take control of the game and do a bit more with the ball. And as you said, we haven't seen him run it once or twice with the football in his hand.
Now that is great defence. Hookie and Caruana, tremendous tackle there.
Joel Kane back to Webster. And Lulawai
Have a look at this tackle there. Shannon Nevin comes through, hooking up nice and low, gets it up, puts it up. Great tackle.
A mistake by Balmain now. It's going to give the Rabbitohs a pretty good attacking opportunity.
Ball, no, forward ball. I've got the call. Hey, this side. Hey. Come on.
Plenty of feeling out there. Oh, Jason Lowry, great take there. What he is actually saying is that the pass has gone forward. Jason Lowry never dropped that ball.
Seconds in. Easy in. Hold the ball. Hold the mark. Hold the mark, Balmain. Hold the mark.
Wing. Brasher at dummy half. Richards. Rodwell moves into acting half. Parsons. Out the back door for Garlick. He was wrapped up immediately by Lulawai. This is Nickel. Can they turn this field position into some points this time? O'Neill running with the football. Wide it goes to Wing. And Hookie. Back on the inside. Caruana. Was there an obstruction there? No, it's play on. Final tackle coming up. And Garlick. To Julian O'Neill. Grubber kick into the in goal. Picked up though by Wade Rothery. And he does well to get out of there. Only just. But he's back in the field of play.
Well, I think that would have worked out better for South Sydney if Julian O'Neill got a better pass from the dummy after. He bent down nice and low, but got his kick away. And Wade Rothery was very, very good getting the ball out there for the Balmain side. Have a look at this. He picks it up, puts the ball back in, but there's no chasers out here to put pressure on. They're just turning up now, but he gets across. This man here slips over and Garlick. Bang! Well, very good work.
Lowry plays it back to Webster and now Field. There's the kicking game coming in, but not his best one this half.
I think South Sydney have woken up. They might as well put some pressure on the Balmain kickers and see if it works for them.
Nickel. Some of the Rabbitohs forwards are looking rather tired out there. Garlick. This is Parsons. Back to nobody. Richards is there. Cleans it up and they lose some ground. But they keep it alive. Smith, Hookie, throws a dummy. That's the 30. Paul McNicholas. O'Neill goes to the air. Nevin takes it at the back. On the full in the in goal. And a quick play on.
He goes to a swing on the right. There's plenty of pressure.
Rothery, has he got the pace to get away? Brasher comes at him. Rothery trying to turn Brasher around. McNicholas got back there and covered to help his fullback out. Almost caught napping the Rabbitohs. Great work by the Tigers. They lead by 10-0. Here's Craig Field, taken by his opposite number, Julian O'Neill. And the penalty against O'Neill.
Hey, get up, you hold him down.
Hit me!
Hey, you hold him down, you got your foot hand on him, and don't touch me. What do you want, Darren? Hey, no, you had your hand on him. Hey, what do you want, Darren? What do you want? What do you want? Shot the goal. Settle it down, settle it down, settle it down.
No shortage of feeling out there at all. Julian O'Neill blowing up, saying he was hit. So an opportunity here for the Tigers.
Okay. Mate, you're getting some, mate. I know I'm putting my hand up both ways. Okay, yeah.
I tell you what, there's plenty of drama out there. Especially when they made that big long bust on the right-hand side. It was good work by Shannon Inner to take the catch, get up and tap it straight away and go. This man here, he's saying he held on to him. Look at this, he tries to turn over. He just pushes him and gives out a silly penalty. As I said, I haven't seen Julian O'Neill do much in this first half whatsoever. So watch out for the second half, because I think Craig Colton will be telling him to run with the ball a lot more.
50% so far today for Niven. In front. The flags are up. And so the Balmain Tigers have a very handy lead at the half-time break here at the Sydney Football Stadium. Half-time, it's Balmain 12, South Sydney 0. 12 points to 0, 2 tries to 0. The Balmain Tigers over the South Sydney Rabbitohs. At head-to-head, Gary Freeman, the two big men up front.
Yeah, they're doing plenty of work, especially in the head-up department, along with the tackles. The big guys get replaced now and then, but the only thing that Jason Lowry would like probably to add to all that is a try for the season, the first in 120-odd games.
A try for the career. And the match stats, 12-0, and possession going the Tigers' way. What about that 59% in their own territory, South Sydney? They will have to correct that.
I think
much in the completions.
Yeah, well, there's not much in the completion, but the problem is for South Sydney, they're actually completing all theirs in their own 25. And with the Balmain side, well, they're actually getting down in the oppositions and being able to score some points, and that's why they lead by 12 points. Missed tackles, I'm sure that Craig Coleman would have plenty to say about that at half-time. And the errors, even though Balmain is ahead 6-4 there, a little bit disappointing. Line breaks, very, very good for the Balmain Tigers, 7-1 against South Sydney.
Another healthy crowd here. Their average is over 12,000. The record crowd here for these two teams was 40,000. That was a semi-final back in 1989. Gary Freeman wore the famous gold and black jersey of Balmain that day. And we're underway. Julian O'Neill kicking off to his opposite number, Craig Field. He offloads immediately, and Walker brings it back towards the 20. So important for the Rabbitohs to get on the score sheet early in the second half. Important for Balmain, Gary, just to get a nice set of 6 away here.
I think the other important thing is not to go on this show, but there is a mistake there by Darren Centre. Knocks the ball on, just took off before he had the ball in his hand. They've done the right thing though, Balmain. They're not too scared to still throw the ball around the paddock, even in the opening set of 6.
Brett Kenny in the tunnel as we have a look at the head still hanging there. Darren Centre after making that mistake. Not the perfect start for Balmain, Brett.
No, it certainly wasn't. It's not what Wayne Pearce was looking for. He wanted to consolidate this lead that they've got. Keep playing the same way, but also he feels that they could possibly attack the short side of the South Sydney defence. He feels there's plenty of yards to be made there, because Craig Coleman very disappointed with his team's performance as we see another drop ball. He emphasised the fact that last week they didn't allow Pendleton for a try. Their defence is nowhere near as good as that this week, and that's one area they've got to pick up. If they can pick up their defence, the rest of their game will go on from there. And also, he wants them to do a lot more kicking and have Julian O'Neill have the ball in his hand more than any other player in the team.
Rotherham with it now on the halfway. Brett, can I get your opinion as a former champion 5'8", Craig Coleman's decision to stand the front row and Mark Carroll at 5'8" from set scrums? In a moment, maybe. This is Webster. It was forward just as the gap opened up. James Webster heading for the try line on his 20th birthday, and it's been called back, so they'll pack the scrum down.
James Webster nearly overran him. Here he is getting under the tackle. That's Craig Field. Look, he goes to get past, he slows up. There was nothing wrong with that pass whatsoever. And the referee, Marco, I think that was probably the first mistake he's made in the game. I tell you, I think he's having a good game, the referee, but that was a mistake.
Well, on that occasion, Brett, it was Carroll in the front row in the scrum, but what about having him out at 5'8"?
And I just think it's a complete waste of time, to be honest with you. I think if you're going to have a big man like that standing off the scrum in the 5'8" position, he's got to do more than just run up and get tackled. And that, we saw it last week against Penrith. The same thing, he just ran to the defensive line and took the tackle. I mean, anyone can do that. If they're going to have a big guy out there, you've got to have him doing something like taking the ball up, turning, offloading. But to me, I'd rather just see the 5'8" in his position. What's happening nowadays? Can't 5'8" play in their normal position anymore.
Well, here he is as a front rower. And it's Carroll. Very good field position for South Sydney after they received the penalty. And Parsons. Balmain 12. South Sydney 0. Smith. taken by Walker and also Webster. Garlick at dummy half to wing, and now Iro. He looked on the outside and took his eyes off the ball momentarily, and he's dropped it, and it's been picked up by Balmain, so a let-off for the Tigers.
Darren said is the man who's come up with the ball. He'll be very happy about that. I'll tell you what, both sides making some fundamental errors with the ball and putting themselves under all sorts of pressure.
Webber plays it. Field picks up Tyron Smith. Can't get away from Richards and James Smith. It's the halfway mark. Field kicking over the head of Brasher, and also Lumens into touch in goal, so it'll come back to the 20.
Craigfield just put it down the right-hand side, another half-metre back inside. I tell you what, he got up and said plenty there.
It went on for a while too.
It certainly did. It's good to see there's a bit of feeling in the game too. They all know what's at stake here today.
Well, what's at stake for South Sydney? There's a top 8 spot next week. Souths have Brisbane here at the Sydney Football Stadium. Brisbane getting dangerously close to Souths in the chase for a top 8 spot. This is Smith. Got the pass away. Brasher stepping. The cover got back there. It was Shane Walker. Garlick to O'Neill. He lost his footing. Sloppy pass picked up by Justin Lumens, kicking straight into the arms of Craig Field, across to Jason Lowry, and it's not happening for the Rabbitohs.
It certainly is not happening because no one's getting there, getting ready or organised to do things with it. As Webster goes nice and wide with Johnny Carlaw.
Carlaw, one of the try scorers in the first half, along with Joel Kane.
Jason, work out here. Mate, he's come down with the forearm. Just bring it out. Yeah, I got that forearm over the top. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, mate, when you've come back over the top, you've used that down across his head. There's no need for it. Tackle's completed, okay? Thank you. Here it is, Rex, I've got it.
The referee saying he used his forearm over the top of a tackle. We might hear a little bit more about that later on.
Well, there's a lot of frustration creeping into the South Sydney side, and this is where some of the senior players like Brasher, Julian O'Neill, they need to take control and settle these guys down because they just can't afford to get overactive in their defence, and they've got to start to control themselves.
Walker can't offload. A couple of Rabbitohs in there wrapping the ball up. 30 metres out. Field to Webster. Back on the inside, Webber. He's put it down.
No advantage, ball's gone forward, scrum's over here.
Jason will be pretty disappointed with that.
Certainly will. The ball's popped up to him there by Webster, up to Webber. Comes up with an easy one. Just took his eye off the ball at the last second. I think what maybe Souths are going to do is get on West Patton, put him into the halfback spot, maybe move Julian O'Neill out to 5'8", so he can get a bit more freedom with the ball.
And here's Craig Wing. Up towards halfway. Lumens.
Balmain are going to be short on that left-hand side. John Carlaw still hasn't got up on that last tackle. And you watch South now will go on the right-hand side and attack straight away now with Timmy Brasher and O'Neill.
Nicholas lays it back to Garlick. And O'Neill just out 2 or 3 players. And Craig Wing down the touchline, back on the inside. He pops it up, and there's the first try for the Rabbitohs. Chris Caruana celebrates his 150th first-grade appearance with a 4-pointer.
Yeah, we'll put that down, as I said. John Carlaw there just been helped from the ground. He was the man that was missing out of the defensive line. They tried to get up a little bit too quick there. Balmain on that left side. Put some pressure on the South Sydney side, but it was a great long ball once again. O'Neill, once he's got the ball in his hand, watch this long ball. Cuts out 2 of the Balmain defenders, and then Wing flying down the outside. The tackle should be made by Nevin. He didn't come up with it. Allows Caruana to score a very good try for South Sydney.
Yeah, as I said, Wes, it was good vision by the South Sydney players. They knew Balmain were missing a player. It was a good long ball. Craig Wing did very well here. Chris Caruana backing up on the inside. So that certainly got them back into the game and certainly got the crowd up on their feet anyway.
Well, that's great news for South Sydney fans. If you look at Balmain, I don't know what happened at the halftime break, Gary, but they went off the boil. They've completed just 1 of their 6 sets in the second half.
Yeah, I think that Wayne Pearce would be a little bit disappointed there, but the other scary part that every time they've virtually made a mistake, it's been their own half, where South Sydney were in the first half. So maybe that's the area they've got to get out of first and then try and attack down the other end of the field.
His first attempt today, Julian O'Neill. Needs it to swing round, and it's off the uprights and waved away. So Balmain lead this one 12-4.
And once again, look at O'Neill, just great long ball. Nickel did a magnificent little short ball there, knew that the winger had come in to make the tackle, but once again, Wing, when he had the ball that right arm, managed to get it free, popped it up to Caruana.
The thing about Craig Wing too, he actually stood behind Nickel. He came from behind Nickel to receive the pass, and that sort of created the opening for him. It certainly was a great backline shot by the Rabbitohs.
Craig Field.
Stay behind the kicker.
Kicking off for Balmain.
Wait for it. Come on, Mark.
Nicholas. Ruben. James Smith. Well, there's plenty of time on the clock for the Rabbitohs. No need to panic. For Balmain, they need to regroup.
That's a very good ball by O'Neill.
That's Craig Wing playing it. Just holding down too long, Balmain.
Hands off it, mate, hands off it.
Both halves are so different, aren't they? See the Balmain side now trying to slow the game down, where I reckon they should be trying to speed it up and just try to put a little bit more pressure on the South Sydney side and get a couple of, or maybe at least one more try.
Ian Ruben, that's the 30-metre mark.
Stand up.
Balmain territory. Parsons. Garlick, the captain. Iro. This is Ruben. Garlick. James Smith. O'Neill looking for support. Pops it up. Who wants it? Rodwell. Picked up now by James Smith. He puts the head down and he's across the white line for another try. It was a lucky bounce in the end, but he still had some work to do. And they're on their feet here at the SFS. 2 tries in the matter of a couple of minutes to the home side. 12-8 now.
And that all comes to that penalty that was given away for holding down the player on the left-hand side of this field. They just come across the field. There's the ball back inside to O'Neill. He does magnificently to get the ball away. It bounces up, as you said, Greg Clark, nicely. Wade Wadley had come up his ring, tried to put some pressure on the man that was receiving it. That tackle there needed to be a ball and all around the legs. It was too close to the try line, and that far out he was always going to score.
Well, there was an element of luck involved with this, but you've got to be there to accept the luck. It was a good, well, not a good pass, but a desperate pass by Julian O'Neill. But Smith was there to accept that. Went over for a very good try, and they're right back in this game now, the Rabbits.
4 tries in 99. He's South's top offloader. On that occasion, he backed himself. He got in for their second try. So problems for Balmain in goal as they do a bit of soul searching, and now Julian O'Neill 6 or 7 metres in from touch. Struck it well. Very well indeed. Between the posts, just 2 points in it now. 12-10. Balmain, only just.
You just see there Wade Rothery come off his wing. He had to do that. He had to try and close the whole exercise down there that Souths were trying to do to promote the ball. And James Smith's very happy man of scoring that one.
The thing about this resurgence with Souths is the fact that Julian O'Neill, and Wiz mentioned early in the first half, Julian O'Neill wasn't doing much at all, but he has now been controlling the play, and he's got the ball in his hands more times than most of the other South Sydney players. So once Julian O'Neill starts to fire, the rest of this side follows.
Craig Field kicking off again. Carroll. Brasher. Parsons.
Souths really now getting a big roll on, aren't they? 3 tackles up, made 40-odd metres.
And now Iro charging onto it. That's the halfway mark. Carroll got the pass away. Rodwell just manages to stay in the field of play. Brasher, bit of pressure on him. Got the kick away. It was taken well over there by Joel Kane. Can play fullback as well, so he's used to taking the high ball. 14 minutes gone in the second half.
I think you'll find that to be a message from Wayne Pearce going out there. Let's just complete our first set of 6 and try and pin South Sydney their own 25 for a change. You see them just running the ball one out, just trying to make those good yards, but South Sydney defence is coming up in their face all the time now.
Mark O'Neill tackled on the halfway mark. Final tackle coming up. Field. Where's Patton? Raced up, but Field was able to get the kick away. The bounce is a good one for Timmy Brasher. It's good defence by Webber. Underneath, over the top centre. Rodwell. Marijuana, one of the try scorers. Almost to the halfway. Richards. There's Patton. Back to James Smith. O'Neill. He got the kick in just as Darren Centre arrived. And Nevin has it.
South didn't really have a good chase though. The only 2 players that are down there, Patton and Wing. Now Balmain goes wide with Joel Kane.
O'Neill still having trouble getting to his pins after being crash tackled. The penalty goes to the Tigers.
He doesn't look too well, does he, that right leg of his? Maybe got an accidental knee.
It was a sloppy tackle, wasn't it?
Yeah, just going a fraction high there, Ian Rubin.
Tigers will be very keen to hit back here. They have the lead by 2, but they're led by 12 at halftime. Shane Walker. Centre. Field. Lowry. The big man running straight at Wes Patton, but fortunately for the Rabbitohs, Parsons got across there as well.
We'll find Jason Lowry.
Jason, you got blood all over your nose, mate. Just walk over there and get someone else here. Before tackles, just standing there, Kyle. Wait for the whistle. Don't play it until the whistle goes. Stand up to him, fellas. Up to him, Matt. Up to him.
So he's in the blood bin. It will be Lulawai playing it. .20 metres out. The Tigers. And Field going to the air. Brasher under a bit of pressure, and he took it well in goal. His teammate Tony Oro helped him out as well. Where's Patton now? Looking for the quick restart. And here's the crowd in the background voicing their disapproval, thinking that the Tigers were not back the 10 metres.
I'll tell you what, Craig Field did magnificently there, because he'd actually kicked the ball, then he got back to the middle of the field to make that tackle on Wes Patton. And now a big pass that makes it up to around about 48 metres out. Oh, that is a very good hit. Kylie Luluai.
O'Neill.
Have a look at this, he just lines him up, boom, there you go.
But still, it's the Rabbitohs on the final tackle and wing. Left-footed kick. No pressure on Nevin. Takes a 10 out from his own line. Webster. Goal Kane over on the far side. Lauder. This is Gannon. Webster with the dummy. They fell for it. He's got support. Oh, the pass is not a good one to Shaw, but it's been picked up by Kane, and Brasher did well to get across there. A try goes begging for the Balmain Tigers. They're still in possession though. Webster gives it to Field. Field kicking for the corner. Craig Winger's over there. It's on the ground and it's been picked up by the Rabbitohs. They survived the onslaught. Now it's Iro.
Well, that certainly should have been a try on that far left-hand side, but it wasn't. But tell you what, the Sesame side have regrouped very, very quickly now. As Paul McNicholas takes the ball up. Look at this, he lines him up. He should have just gone himself. Once again, Brasher decided he was going to go for the man that had received the ball. What a tackle from Brasher. God, he's had a fine game here tonight.
Smith. 6 from halfway. McNicholas. Right on the halfway mark. O'Neill. Where's Patton? Left-footed kick. Nevin, but 2 or 3 out from his own line. He gives it to Rothery. They're pinned inside the red zone at the moment, Balmain.
There's a couple of Balmain forwards that are really struggling now to get back on side after that kick by Wes Patton.
Nevin. Nable to O'Neill. Back to Nable. Webster. Field. Shaw. Taken by O'Neill. Field gets the kick away.
See Balmain's chest now, it's just a little bit uneven players, just not getting the right position. They was very lucky. They didn't come on that tackle there by Jason Larry.
It's Caruana. McNicholas. Rodwell. So they're back at the halfway. Carroll straight ahead. Richards. Knock on.
No control, no control. No control. No control. Mate, he's got to make a step up.
Let me tell you, I I am very happy that the referees have decided now that the player's got to have some sort of control when he's playing the ball. There, he looked at the referee to say, hey, you should penalise because he was on my back. No, that was wrong. Good decision by the referee once again.
Hold the mark,
Do the players have to get to their feet before they can play the ball?
They are supposed to get to their feet, and
Exactly.
no one does it. And the other thing they don't do, Brett Kenny, they don't touch the ball with their foot.
Yeah, well, that's true. And
That's a rule.
Every game you see, players place the ball on the ground first before they get to their feet. And, I mean, referees should be penalising for that.
What's the rules there for?
Okay, now it's Smith, 10 from halfway. Centre. Nable. Good run from dummy half. Final tackle coming up. Field. Over the head of Lumens. One bounce and into touch.
I want to see Craig Field now, though, that times, I know, 20-odd minutes, 24 minutes gone in this game now, that he doesn't little chip over and someone goes through to try and regather, because Webster's been playing very well. He's got plenty of pace to pick up a little chip kick.
Clarkie, you mentioned before about having blokes like Mark Carroll out at 5'8" from a scrum. Well, this is a position where I'd have him on the blind side on the wing.
So he doesn't get the ball?
No, give him the ball, run up the blind side.
Well, he's running towards the blind side at the moment. He's being
You must have heard me.
rested on the interchange bench. Parsons. 22 metres out from the line. Hockey. Good strong run. Wing, they need to keep it alive. Wing, got away from them all. He is brilliant. Craig Wing in for the try, and the Rabbitohs in the lead.
Oh, that was just unbelievable. Put it down to, though, Jason Nicol is the man who gets the ball away. A couple of Balmain players coming to make the tackle. He got the right arm free. Craig Wing, how did he stand up the fullback? And Shannon Nevin, it was just great football to watch. He is terrific on his feet. Watch this kid here. Goes through the line, gets it between Webber, that pops the ball up. Then he got rid of Wade Rothery, no problems whatsoever. Steps inside, and just too much pace. Jason Lowry gave chase. Just watch this kid in flight. He is unbelievable. He is a great player.
Yeah, he put this down to Jason Nicol. It's a great pass, very good run, keeps the arm free, good backing up by Craig Wing, and this kid has got some class and plenty of pace. A very good try.
Yeah, Wing's 9th try for the season. He's the top Rabbitoh try scorer, the top line breaker, and a timely try, that one. So it's 14-12, kick to come from right in front for O'Neill. No problems from there. 16 points to 12. Worth another look.
Oh, it certainly is worth another look. But look how he gets it between the two players. Just possibly, like Timmy Bradshaw, he thought he was going to get the ball. What's that? Oh, great left foot step. Another left foot step. Just too much pace. And he's very happy about that one too, isn't he? Have a look at him. But isn't it great to see the crowd up cheering them? They've scored the try, but when they even come back for the kick-off, they're still cheering them.
They're still cheering them.
Well, they've certainly changed their tune, because at half-time they weren't cheering for the players. They were giving the referee a real bag.
Yeah. Well, now they're in front, the referee doesn't come into the contention.
But there is still plenty of time for the Tigers to regroup. After they led 12-0 at half-time, 16 unanswered points in the second half. Everything we thought it would have, plenty of feeling. A lot of tradition out there. Garlic. This time he gets the penalty.
Well, there's the tackle made by Webber. In that situation there, he's got to let him go. Does a little bit of a swan dive. That's a fair penalty there for South Sydney. Balmain still leading the penalty count, 8-5.
Reuben. Good strong run. Ian Reuben got the pass away. Rodwell. The cover got back there only just in time. Now it's Lumens from dummy half, and real problems now for the Balmain Tigers. Great field position after that great run by Reuben. Now it's O'Neill having a run on his own. He can't pierce the defence. Options either side. They go to the right through Tony Iro. Short ball. Smith's put it down. A let off for the Tigers.
Well, very much so, because the man who's going to make that tackle of Webber, he is still down for the count. You can see them out there. So Balmain would only down to 12 men. I think Ian Reuben just come flying through, and I think Webber just got his head in the wrong spot. A lovely ball away to Rodwell that was backing him up on the inside. Watch this here. He just gets down nice and low, turns his head the wrong way. Oh, accidentally got a knee to the head. And then the fullback comes across and he gives him a big see you later at the same time. Then pops a beautiful ball. Yes, it was Rodwell. Rivalry saves the day for Balmain.
And after that run, he's been given a rest on the interchange bench. So South Sydney have turned those line breaks around after half-time. Carroll comes on. And the players just wait for a rather sick-looking Jason Webber to be lifted onto the medicab.
I think he thinks he's still a Balmain training run. Doesn't know he's at the SFS.
Not a bad shiner on the right eye of Mark Carroll.
No way, fellas, wait for Sally.
Darren Centre, the captain of the Tigers. So I don't think we'll see any more of Jason Webber here today. Field. Kane plays it to Webster, and now Jason Lowry runs into his countryman, Tony Iro. Gannon. Field goes wide to Smith. Through the tackle. Tyrant Smith. Back on the inside. Darren Centre backing up. The ball's gone forward though. Trying to keep it alive over on the far side. They couldn't control it.
It was a little unlucky, wasn't he, Darren Centre? Great break here by Tyrant Smith, just shrugging away Julian O'Neill. He goes back out here because he knew his winger was unmarked. Tried to offload the ball. Just couldn't get the ball out to him. Big Shaw was the man that would have been receiving that one.
Hold it there.
Rasher. Taken by Carlaw and Webster. Try scorer, wing. About a metre inside, Balmain territory. This is Nickel. Craig Coleman says that he's probably the buy of the year. Jason Nickel.
Wouldn't be far wrong. He's had some great games for them. It's Mick Nicholas. Just too big, aren't they? Some of those South Sydney players.
Now it's Smith.
Just on Jason Nickel, though, Greg, I'd like to see him a little bit wider. He's creating some damage up the middle, but wider would be great.
Well, there's a kick from O'Neill and a great chase from Lumens. He's going to go to the video referee.
There you go, John. You can have a look at that one, mate. Check the grounding.
Oh, this could be the match winner. Lumen showing blistering pace.
Yeah, I don't think he thinks he scored this try himself. I know he's gone through here and got the ball down. Oh, well, it's just too hard to tell from there. Does he get it grounded?
I've seen worse awarded.
So, well, Balmain don't think it's a try. They're going for a 20-metre tap.
They won't have the final say, though.
No, I know they won't. I'm just still not sure if he did ground the ball. It's very, very hard to say. He had full control when the ball was put on the ground. And has it come out of his hands there? I don't know if I can see his arm on the shot, but he's as he dropped the ball.
Well, there was downward pressure from the arm.
What I'm saying is his hands are out there holding the ball, then the ball's gone forward.
Try. Here's the answer. The green light. The try to Lumens. Good kick by O'Neill. He should get some of the credit, but the chase was a beauty.
As Brett Kenny, I'll be saying, as soon as he gets involved, Julian O'Neill, he puts plenty of pressure on the opposition, goes to the line, puts a little kick in. Rothery at the turn and chase, but Lumens got blistering pace, got in between them, got his hands down on the ball. As we've just seen, that is a green light for a try.
Well, it was a great kick. It was well weighted and in great position as well. And as you said, Justin Lumens is very quick. He's able to get in behind Rothery. Come up for a great try. As I said, Clark, I think that's a match winner.
So it's 20 points to 12. 4 tries they've scored in the second half, the Rabbitohs. O'Neill trying to add the extra 2 from out wide. Struck it pretty well. Oh, it's a great kick. The flags go up. Oh, what a second half they're having at the moment, South Sydney. 22 points to 12. Balmain can't take a trick in the second half. Eight minutes remaining. Can the Tigers hit back? Brett Kenny, I don't know what is down at the scoreboard end of the SFS, but it's like a magnet, isn't it? Because all the points in this match, all 6 tries have been scored at that end.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, it's not as if there's a howling wind behind the players either, but the ground's supposed to be pretty level. Maybe it slopes right to left on the screen, so maybe that's a bit of an advantage for the players.
Maybe they're running away from you because you're at the other end where the points aren't being scored.
No, don't be like that. Come on.
Balmain against the toe. Yeah, they've conceded plenty of tries from kicks other than bombs, the most in the NRL. And Nickel continues to cause some problems. Brasher's had another strong game, so is this man Wing. O'Neill finding touch and just settling things down. And if Souths can hold on and win this one, they'll stay in the top 8 because next week they've got Brisbane here at the Sydney Football Stadium. Balmain have a home game against the Dragons, but even with a win today, the Tigers with no hope of making the 8.
Well, what I really could do now is try and stop sides getting into the top 8, and Souths would have been their first victim. Well, there's just over 8 minutes to go in the game, but
ball in.
They've got to try something now, Balmain.
Well, Wayne Pearce, the coach, will be very disappointed with the second half effort. It was just a very solid opening 40 by the Tigers.
Yeah, it was interesting to note, though, that out of 21 sets in the first half, they completed 13. They've only gone up to 29. They've only had 8 extra sets. They've only completed probably 5. They haven't had much ball.
And Field goes wide. Tyron Smith, he's knocked it on. Great opportunity again for the Rabbitohs, and in the mood they are in at the moment, don't be surprised if they make the Tigers pay. Here's Caruana. 15 metres out. Carroll. But there's a little knock on in there. And Carroll is not too well at the moment.
Just
shaken after that hit up.
Hey? No, ball's gone out before he hit the ground. No, ball's gone forward. Yeah, but mate, before he hit the ground, he's lost.
He's going forward here, and a couple of the Balmain players come in. I think he's accidentally hit James Gannon's elbow with that tackle. He'll come in from the right of the screen, just about here. There he is, just there. And he's falling into the tackle. I think that's where he accidentally hits his head. Plus, when as soon as he hits the ground, the back of his head, a bit of a whiplash. You'll just watch this, Brett Kenny.
Yeah, it's certainly a heavy knock. He was certainly out to it when he hit the ground, but to his credit, he's back up. And it's a nice eye he's got there.
He was talking about his wife not being able to recognise him. He's going to make sure he goes home tonight when it's late.
Just for good measure also, accidentally. He copped a knee in the midriff as well.
A little bit shaky, that big spud.
South Sydney Warhorse. And it's the Tigers. Scoreless in the second half, the Tigers. Centre. And Souths trying to hold on to a top 8 spot. Let's have a look at their run home. Brisbane here at the Sydney Football Stadium. Auckland at home as well. They're away to the Dragons and Newcastle. 2 tough matches on the road. And then 2 home games, the Roosters and the Seagulls. And then they finish with a tough one. Away to Parramatta, round 26. Webster. Allowed to run. Holding it up and getting it across to Darren centre, and Darren's put it down.
Hand over.
Yeah, just the little things now not going right. Just throwing the long ball over the top. He needed someone to come back underneath him. There's plenty of gaps down the middle of the ruck area, but you cannot beat the South Sydney on the outside. They go up and they slide very, very well there. That's where they need to turn the ball back inside. We've got in the way there, and Darren centre. Pretty hard catch to take.
Brasher with a good run, stepping his way through. 5 metres inside Balmain territory. Hookie. Garlic from dummy half. Pulling Caruana back on the inside, back to Hookie. O'Neill. Gave it to Richards. He couldn't control it. Some tired players out there at the moment.
I was trying to get an advantage and he didn't want to pick it up.
Left pass. He did call it back anyway. It was forward.
I was waiting for you to take it.
I don't think Craigfield wanted to take that ball there. Referee was willing to take the scrum. Probably a better opportunity to attack here for the Balmain side.
Work to it. Ball's in.
It's quite rare in the second half for South not to complete their set. They've completed 10 out of 12 sets of 6 in the second half.
Problem is the ones they have completed have been points on the board.
3 minutes remaining. Field kicking over the top. Field with the chase. That's offside.
No, touch you. No, it came off you. I thought it came off you and went forward.
Craig Field. Fine touch.
I was talking about in the first half, a little chip over the top will work for Craigfield because Timmy Brasher is usually pretty deep, especially on that 4th and 5th tackle.
Field. Webster, quick hands. Nabel, Field, got away from the chase of Reuben. Lulawai. It's sloppy play.
Ball's forward that one.
Balmain knocked it on first. That's the call. So the Rabbitohs will have the last throw of the dice.
Well, I thought that ball there was knocked down by Wes Patton. Craigfield went to catch the ball, then it was hit down from him. I thought that should be play on.
Play on, 6 to go.
Yeah.
And now it's Brasher. 12-0 at half-time to Balmain after a try to Carlaw and Kane, and then 4 tries in the second half to Rabbitohs. 3 of them converted by Julian O'Neill. Caruana was 150th today. Where's Patton? Started the season in the Metropolitan Cup with Newtown. He'll be enjoying his stint in first grade. Smith got to offload, decided to take the tackle in the end. Hookie gives it to Patton. Patton goes to the air. Field waits for it, so too does Rothery. He takes it in the end.
That's been the big difference in this second half, is that South Sydney, I think Craig Coleman would have said to them, you've got to speed your play the balls up, which they've done so. That's really turned the game around for South in the second half.
So, Brett, I guess it's time to look into the crystal ball. You've seen the run home for South. You fancy them making the playoffs?
Well, I think it's going to be very tough. I mean, they'll give it a great shot, but I can't see them making the top 8. I think they'll probably finish around 9th or 10th. They've got a couple of tough games there, as you mentioned, Newcastle, Parramatta, just 2 of them, and then St George Illawarra too, I think. So it is a bit of a tough haul for them, but I'll certainly give it a shake.
Gary Brisbane have won 7 in a row, and they're here next week. That should be a great game, and should be a bumper crowd as well.
Oh, mate, where's Patton? I think it will be an absolute sensational game. South, the fans are very happy here today. They're all standing here up at the SFS. I'll tell you what, I reckon they'll get 30,000 here next week. Be a magnificent game of footy. They really did tough out a hard win here today against Balmain. Plenty of pressure on them, especially coming to that second half, Greg.
Yeah, a real turnaround after the break for the Rabbitohs. Full time here at the Sydney Football Stadium. South Sydney 22, Balmain 12. 4 tries to 2 in the end. Good crowd support again. And for South Sydney, Lumens, Caruana, Wing and Smith got the tries. O'Neill 3 goals. And for Balmain, Kane and Carlaw, the try scorers. Nevin kicked 2 goals in the first half. Balmain led 12-0 at half-time, but at full-time it was 22-12. The other way, South Sydney over Balmain. My thanks to Brett Kenny and also to Gary Freeman. All the crew here at the Sydney Football Stadium. I'm Greg Clark. It's farewell from the SFS.